Right, Micky, where did the idea come from for this film?
So Bermondsey Tales is obviously it's loosely based on me family, and I was always growing up in pubs with a load of people that were maybe the wrong side of the law, and you find that they always tell these stories about being banged up or what they used to do. And when you see films, the gangster films can be quite violent, they can be quite macho, and I always found the truth is far more funnier, you know. So I spent my youth growing up in pubs listening to funny stories, and I wanted to tell them in a narrative. And because they were 30 different people's stories over the course of 60 years, it was impossible. So I thought, right, Bermondsey Tales, let's make one family loosely based on my family, very loosely based on my family, but we weave these stories in and out of them. And that's what we've got. We've got, you know, the Postman's Tale, Jimmy's Tale, all these tales come together. And they are all based on truth. I mean, a lot of them pretty much happened how it was, but it's weaving that narrative together so that in an hour and a half it all makes sense and it's got one through line. So that's sort of how it came about.
And that's right, because you ain't going to sit enjoying yourself in a pub talking about all the bad things that happen. You remember, it's the funny things, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I find, firstly, you've got to be a character. You see these films where they're all macho and it's, you know, we eat these, we eat this. You can only eat so many people. So it's easier to be funnier, and it's got to be easier to entertain. And I think these people often, they sit about, you know, when you're banged up, you're there, we've got nothing to do but each other's company and talk. So you find a lot of them are great storytellers. And I think, maybe I'm biased here, but I think it's a bit of an Irish thing, I think it's a bit of a London thing, where it's these stories. And the funny stories are the ones that get retold, and they're the funny ones are the ones you remember.
You had to have a laugh, didn't you?
Yeah, you got, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a gangster film that people come out and go, that was funny, that really made me laugh. And for me, the great ones are, you know, Love on a Bay, obviously I know Ray really well. Your Guy Ritchie films. It's the even Fools and Horses. I know it's not gangster, but it's a working class London story.
Humour in the Sopranos.
Yeah. I mean, my favourite Sopranos episode is the Pine Barrens.
Yeah, when they're out in the
it's hilarious, you know. And so that dark humour and even the horrible stuff, you've got to find humour in that. And that sounds, on a basic level, that comes across really bad. But like when my nan passed away, we found the humour in that. You know, it's when something goes wrong and they end up getting nicked. The amount of times you hear the stories, but they actually find the humour in it.
It's a working class trade.
Yeah, I think so, and I just think it's more interesting for me. That's the body of work that I want to create. I want to create something that people will engage with. They'll like the characters. They'll feel warm, and they're you know. But ultimately, I always say, whether it's for a theatre show or a film, if someone's paying 15 quid to come and sit something that I've done, I hope at the end of it, if it moves you, brilliant. But if you laugh, that's it, job done. So yeah, for me, that's sort of the aim.
How long did it take you to write?
Oh, I write quite weird. I sort of tend to write over the course of a night. So the last heist that come out, I wrote that in 8 hours. So I tend to write. So realistically, I probably wrote Bermondsey Tales in under 15 hours. But then you tweak it a little bit, and then the final rewrite comes when you cast it. Like there's a character called the Postman that was based on a good friend of my granddad's, and we got John Hannah to play it. So once we knew we had John, it was right, we rewrite that. When we had Frank to play my dad in it, it was like, okay, Frank's nothing like my dad in real life, but he's sort of, so you rewrite it. So I write it 15 hours, but then I take a couple of months tweaking it and making it what people see on the screen. And then the final bit is obviously working with the actors on the day. You know, what you write, I always say, is the film you write, the film you shoot, the film you edit. And when you're on set, I think if you've got something on script, if you end up with exactly that, you've missed a trick. It's about collaborating on the day. You know, you give the actors an inch, they take a mile, but there's got to be a bit of creative freedom there.
Was raising the money to make the film difficult?
raising the money, I've got to say, I was really lucky. Seraphim Films and Rohit Nathaniel put complete faith in me. So they put in half, and I was on holiday in Turkey, and we found out that the other half of the money fell through, which made my holiday great. And then after, I think 2 days, Ro rung me up and he went, look Mike, don't worry, enjoy your holiday. He went, I've got it. So he completely funded every penny of it, was all done for him. It's all the Seraphim film, it's all down to the Seraphim group and Rohit and Sandra Nathaniel's backing. So touch wood, we were very, very lucky with that.
So yeah, so you got everything you wanted. You didn't have to cut corners with anything after that.
No, I mean you always cut corners. You know, as a director, you always want another week. You know, there's a few scenes where, you know, the difference between a Guy Ritchie film and Bermondsey is the budget. You haven't got time to shoot it quite the way you want. So it's a compromise. It's me, my DOP Sebastian Court, and my first Andrew Richards. We sit down, I go, right, that's what I want, and it's like you haggle. I want that, and the first to go, right, if you had that, you can't have the time for that. And the DOP goes, right, I remember I gave him Kingsman for a fight, and I went, Kingsman's the reference. And he went, yeah, he went, I need another 17 cameras, another 3 weeks. So it ended up being what we got. So it is a compromise, but with Ro and Seraphim, they were brilliant to work with. There was no... They didn't question the creativity. There weren't a case of we need a rewrite. We agreed on the cast. We casted it together. So that way I was very, very lucky. There was no compromises. And I think for the budget that we had, I think, well, hopefully people agree when the film comes out, I think we did very well on the budget. So yeah, touch wood, it was all worked out well.
Who's Ro?
So Rohit Nathaniel is the executive producer, and in it he plays Tom.
Gotcha. Right, oh, let's just... So tell us, I know you was talking before I switched on. How did you end up becoming the writer, actor and director?
Blagged it, chief blagger. So I was meant to be doing it with Ray Burdis, who I did my second film with. And then literally 2 weeks before we went to prep, he rang up and looked, Mark, I can't do it. So we lost our DOP and the director. And I went, that's it, it's game over. But the Rose, the producer, went, no, I'll back you, you do it. And I've sort of directed stage before. And how hard can it be? So I watched a couple of videos on Studio Binder, and then thought, no, that I'll give it a go. But the truth of it is that, like I said, the DOP was brilliant, the first was brilliant, and I think, and the cast were brilliant. So, if a director's brilliant, they can bring a lot to the table. Of course they can. But if a director's actually poor or indifferent, or sometimes they're just a body in the room, but the cast is good, the DOP is good, and the first is good, you've got to go a long way to cock it up, really, haven't you? So it was purely by blag. But touch wood, it worked out well, and then I got hired to do a film off the back of that in Ireland. So I've now, when I got interviewed for that out in Ireland, I went, oh, how did you train to be a director? I went, I watched Studio Binder. And they went, you watched the whole YouTube channel? I went, no, about 6 videos. So it's, but you know, the DOP does the technical work. The first makes sure it works like clockwork. I think as a director, you just got to
delegate.
Yeah, you just got to make sure the cast. I think it's a bit like being a football manager. If you get technical managers that are very good tactically, or you get the Aaron Redknaps that just put an arm around them.
Harris.
Yeah, Neil Harris, isn't it? You know what I mean? He's turned them right round. So yeah, it wasn't something that I ever wanted to do. And if I'd have thought about it, it would have scared me, and I probably wouldn't have done it. But because the money was there, the cast was there, the crew was there, we already paid a lot of the money out to get it up and running. It was a case of walk away about 100 grand down, or blag it. And so blag it won.
How can people get to see it? Where's it going to be?
So we've got a premiere coming out at the O2 on May the 9th, and we've got a VIP after party, so that should be a really nice one. Make a real celebration of it. The crew are coming down, the media will be there, the red carpet and all that. So that's at the O2 on May the 9th. It'll be in selected cinemas around London from May the 17th, and then it's available on DVD, Blu-ray, Sky Store, Amazon, Apple, you know, all them lot.
DVD man.
DVD man. No, not from him. You're not allowed to pirate it. Don't pirate it when it's mine. Yeah, I got a load in my coat actually. But yeah, it's out properly from June the 10th.
Because the last Ice come out on streaming not too long after the film, and that probably really helped in it in terms of the numbers of seeing it. Like,
It's
Is it difficult getting like a broad release in like nationwide cinemas?
well, it's done through Kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
So, and the truth is, it's the cast.
Right.
I'm not overly sure distributors even watch the film, to be honest with you. I think if you're going to them and going, right, we've got the cast that we've got, which is phenomenal. And they sort of go, what are you looking for? And I think unless you don't go in and go, oh, I'm expecting £3 million, as long as you go with a reasonable fee off the back of the cast, again, it's got to be a really terrible film to not.
I said to my mum about it. My mum she's not really into films that have violence, but as soon as I said, "Oh, John Anna's in it," it's like, "Oh, I love him." Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mine was the last conversation I had with me nan. I went down there and she was losing it a little. Well, she weren't losing it, but she had a water infection, which was sort of, anyway. And she went, "Oh, I just see Linda Robson on telly." She's doing a film about Bermondsey. No, that's my film. She went, "What do you mean it's mine? Technically, she's playing you." So it's. I think that's the casting puzzle. We've got Frank, Alan, Vaz.
You've got Adam Deacon and all, haven't
Yeah,
you?
you know. So you've got what I call my old school stable that are they're in the films that I would watch. If Frank's in the film, I will watch it. Then you've got Adam Deacon. That's brings a more diverse, slightly younger audience, dare I say.
He's had a few comedy ones himself.
Some other hood,
yeah.
Then we've got Maisie and Charlie that are known for soaps that will bring a different audience in. Linda Robson and Vicky Michelle that will bring a different, and Gary Webster that will bring a different audience. So I think it's just about a puzzle. If you can bring in enough elements from, and the film that Frank's doing, it's really clever because it brings in two different generations, two different sort of cultures. And then if you can get the puzzle, again you've got to go hard to go wrong. So yeah, Kaleidoscope, they took it, I think, off the strength of the cast. They certainly didn't read the script, and I'm not overly sure they even saw the film before they made the offer. If I'm being honest.
What are your plans now? What's next?
World domination.
That's it.
No,
Sorted.
obviously. We're still working closely with Seraphim, but me, Frank and a few others are setting up SE1 films. We want to do films where the investors are looked after. It's got a terrible reputation film. We want to make sure the investors are looked after. They get their money back first before people start dipping their hands in the tin. And we want to make working class stories that are interesting, that are well made, that are well cast and well written. And that's what we want to do through that. So the hope is SE1 films. Frank's got a brilliant film we want to make fairly soon. I want to do Worth a Flutter, that was my stage play, as Bermondsey Tales 2. And then we just want to work with loads of like-minded people creating stories that will entertain and
sort of represent your world and all, like.
Yeah, that's and got good actors in them. So yeah, that's the plan, and then then world domination.
Anything else?
No, I think that's that's it coming.
Go on.
Was there anything you mentioned, like Only Fools, Soprano? Well, I did stuff that's got that sort of like edge to it, but got the humour as well. Was there anything else specifically that was an influence in writing it?
Oh, my film's lovingly ripped off from everything.
That's what.
Scorsese.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and
Who doesn't have their influence?
So Scorsese, obviously Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
Fools and Horses. Actually, In Bruges is a huge influence.
Fantastic. He's a Camberwell boy, Martin McDonough.
Oh, is he really? Yeah. In Bruges.
He's married to that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, isn't he? Fleabag.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
that.
You see, I'm not educated. I don't know. I know nothing and no one.
But like, that's exactly it. What you're saying, that resonated with me, because there's bits in Goodfellas that'll make you laugh.
Yeah.
And that is like as close as.
One of my favourite comedies, Goodfellas.
Yeah, it's Rachel's favourite
Get
film.
your fucking sign box and all that.
Yeah.
And like,
But also, I've tried to bring some of it's quite. So I quite like Flight of the Conchords, Monty Python, How I Met Your Mother. So I've tried to bring.
There's only one Neil Harris.
Yeah. But there's a few scenes that are a bit there's a few scenes that are heightened, like the one with Frank's doing the robbery, which is again true story about Uncle Elby Arrow got me ring. The John Hannah stuff, the postman, which is again one of my granddad's mates. I don't know if he's passed away yet, so I can't mention him by name. And then there's one scene that's really surreal, and it's How I Met Your Mother, and that's my homage to.
Yeah, it's an homage. That's the perfect way.
And it's Daniel O'Reilly's character. He tells a story about how this night happened. Then you see how this night happened, and so it's just. If I see something and like it, I think I can rip that off, and hopefully people haven't seen that, and then they think it's me, don't they?
That's what everyone does.
Yeah.